All right, all right. Hey, I got to jump right into this. This is Bite Down Boxing, presented by Pay Me No Mind Sports and Entertainment. My name is Wood. You can see that at the bottom. I got to jump right in because my guest has something to do, but I want to welcome to the program Stephen Breadman Edwards. What's good, man?
Hey, how you doing, man? I don't mean to rush you, man. My son hurt his ankle tonight, so I got to do some little stuff to it to make sure you're okay.
No problem, no problem. I completely understand. I just appreciate your time. Like I said, I value your insight on boxing. And so let's jump into it, though. One thing, man, and this is, again, I want to preface this with this is not a point of contention or nothing to argue about. It's a learning opportunity for me and other people who want to listen, because there's no gym in my city that I can get to and begin to develop the type of boxing knowledge that you have. But one thing that I saw in some of your coverage on the mailbag, for anybody watching and that knows Breadman, he does a mailbag, a featured column on boxingscene.com. One of the things that I noticed was you gave round 2 to Lomachenko in the fight against Teofimo Lopez. Okay. You did, as well as Andre Ward. So when I see two guys whose opinion I respect like that, I did not give that round. I did not score that round in his favor. I just want to know how you came to that conclusion, because you watched it a few times and stuck with that. So I just wanted to.
I will have to watch the round with you, but I thought he landed a couple little sneaky little left hands. I thought he tried to control him. If you notice, he didn't move as much as he did in the first round. He kind of like tested the waters a little bit, and then he stepped back off the gas. So you watch that round real good. He landed two nice left hands. They was like real little sneaky shots, and he got Lopez's attention. If I could remember correctly, it's hard to remember a fight verbatim. Right, you have so many fights, but one of them was like towards the end of the round and really shook him. Not shook him up, but it was like, oh, okay, he not playing with me no more. So right. I thought he kind of like, let the kid know, like, I could do a little something to you. And that was like the prelude to the second half of the fight. Like, I can get this little shot in. So I thought he landed in. It was about maybe 25 to 30 seconds in that round. And he like really kind of like got Lopez's attention. I thought he kind of like controlled the mood of that round. I'm not a big punch stat guy. I didn't see some funny things on punch stats. I just had a fight. I don't know if you watched it. I just had a fight with Karan Davis versus Anthony Durrell.
Yeah.
And I watched that fight at home, and they was giving Anthony Durrell punches that Karan was landing. I'm like, dang. Like, so I don't really get into that because that's a human being pushing that. But I thought Loma landed a couple nice left hands. If we was to watch the fight together, I could show you why. But towards the end of the round, I really thought that he, landed some good shots.
And that's understandable. I mean, like I said, after I read you had a couple of, because you were asked about it several times in the mailbag. And like I said, with Andre Ward giving him that second round during the fight, actually on fight night first watch, I was like, what the hell did he see? Because looking at it from my perspective, it was like 90 seconds went by before Loma even threw.
It was, but
that first punch was serious though. That first left.
Teofimo Lopez really, I think he was kind of like waiting for the storm almost that round, because Loma had pretty much gave him the first round. So I think I don't think he did much either.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, one guy was moving away and one guy was moving towards him. But the criteria for scoring a round is effective aggressiveness, and people got to remember that. It's not a carryover effect from the first round. The first round is done.
Correct.
So it's effective aggressiveness, defense, ring generalship. Effective aggressiveness means not just coming forward, but coming forward and landing good punches.
Right.
Defense is obvious. Are you applying your defense to not get hit? Ring generalship, are you controlling the action, whether you coming forward or going backwards? And clean punching. And I thought Loma kind of like, he kind of like took the air out of it a little bit. Teofimo was like, damn, I'm waiting for him to do something. What's going on? And then he landed some really nice, clean, head snappy kind of shots. And I thought he, that got him in the round.
Understandable. Thanks for putting me on. Like I said, you guys watch this stuff and see completely different stuff, so it's just a chance for me to pick your brain. Definitely wanted to hit on while you are on here. Obviously, we had. Well, actually, let me stop at one other before I get to the Boots and Lipinets fight. I just wanted to get your opinion on whether right now, because you know some behind the scenes things. These exclusive TV deals in boxing right now, are these really doing a disservice to black fighters in particular? It seems like we're at a moment where I'm looking around and a lot of cats that I would like to see have a meaningful fight or advance their career to a certain level. It just seems like these contracts are impeding everything. And I hate to single out black fighters,
I really don't know because it's too general of a statement. But what I do believe is that some people use that as an excuse to not fight. And I think that, it's kind of like the convenient excuse. And if you do try to overstep the guidelines or the status quo, so to speak, and you lose, it's almost like, well, I told you so kind of thing. So guys don't want to really, venture off into that. The top guys, the more known guys, these guys are getting paid. So, guys that really, really care about their legacy, if they're winning big fights, you can make the fight that you really want to make. You can. You can make, because you can tell the people in charge, like, yo, either I'm going to make this fight or I'm not going to be with your network or your company or your platform anymore. And I'm not talking about intermediate guys. I'm talking about stars. So, it's a lot that goes on, man. Sometimes you can have people act like they try to make a fight and they really don't. You can have that happen. You have promoters acting like, well, I'm trying to make the fight, and they really not putting their best forth effort. There's so much stuff that goes on. It's hard to make that general comment and general statement about everybody. It's just too hard. I try to deal in specifics on case by case basis because everybody's situation is totally different. Everybody doesn't have the same amount of drawing power, clout, wins or losses, resumes. It's so many things that go into that. Or ambition. Some guys really want to fight, care about their legacy. Some guys act like it in public and they just care about money. Some guys care about a little bit of both. So, I don't like to generalize.
It just seems like, and I was thinking about it before we got on earlier. It just seems like when everybody, and this is specific to the PBC, but it seems like when they had everybody at a division where you had a fighter in Julian Williams, it just seems like the PBC was able to do great business with that division and get everybody in there against one another and give us 2.5, 3 years of great action at super welterweight. Whereas now everything just seems to be held up.
Yes and no. I mean, the guys have taken some losses. So when guys take losses, they may not be so eager to get back in there. I mean, we just got a unification with Charlo and Rosario. So that's a big fight. That's 3 belts. It looks like we're going to get Castano and Charlo, which will be all 4 belts, and for the Ring magazine. We're getting Lubin versus Rosario. That's right. A big fight. So, I still think action is happening. I think things are slowing down a little bit, but I still think that big fights are coming. But you can't expect guys to fight each other every single time out, because we're just not in the era for that. And when a guy loses, he wants to take his time and come back and things like that. So I still think they're fighting. I think the COVID slowed some things down, and I think some guys are slowing themselves down.
Understood. So let's get to it with Jaron Ennis and Sergey Lipinets. Looking at this fight, huge contrast in styles. A lot of us are huge fans based on what we've seen of Jaron Ennis to this point. Lipinets, tough guy, had a good fight against Peterson, competitive fight with Garcia. I believe he might have been dropped in that fight though. Had some issues in getting past Clayton, might have even lost that fight to Minnie. And I think he's been honest about what's expected in this fight with Jaron Ennis. Help us out though with kind of with understanding the talent that we see in the young man.
Ennis is phenomenal. He's phenomenal. He's I had him in camp in 2014. He's like 17 years old. He's phenomenal then. He's phenomenal now. He's good. I mean, I really, I don't want to heap too much praise on him because he still hasn't reached the top level in boxing. Anything can happen. But from what I've seen in the gym, his work ethic, his talent level, and everything, it's the best fighter I've ever seen in the gym.
That's saying quite a bit.
He's he really is. He's the best I've ever seen in the gym. And I've seen, man, I've seen just about everybody in the gym. He's the best. I mean, he's really good, man. I mean, you got to be having a hell of a day to get the better of him. I'm serious. You got to be like, shit. He's good, man. I expect him to do really well versus Lipinets. I know people attack his resume, but you don't hear nobody in the media asking no fighters, do they want to fight him?
Exactly.
So they talk about his resume. Why don't you ask them fighters why they don't fight him? Because if they say his name, they're going to get a fight. Because that kid will fight all of them. He wants smoke. He wants to be on. So if somebody says his name, he going to fight. People that know. A lot of these guys pose and that kid will fight. He's a very nice kid, but that kid wants to fight. Ain't nobody going to say his name. Trust me, they're not going to say his name. You're not going to hear one of these guys say, I want to fight Jaron Ennis until they see him get knocked down or hurt or something like that. Right now, people who know, they're not going to fight that kid. He can fight. I give Lipinets major props for taking this fight.
Me too. And, the couple of times that I've been in the press conference with him, I had to, say that to him. I'm trying to be as respectful as possible, but I don't see the style matchup being favorable for him. Is there anything that that you think he can do to he's talking about
listen,
I don't know how he makes it happen.
Let me tell you this. As good as Ennis is, he's a human being.
Right.
He lost fights before as an amateur. Anybody can have a bad day. Lipinets can't view him the way the public views him. You got to view him as a human being.
And he's done that.
Lipinets has to be at his best when his best is needed. I ain't never going to say a guy can't lose because anybody could lose. Roy Jones could lose. Anybody could lose. Ray Leonard could lose. Anybody could lose. And Ennis can lose just like anybody else. But he's a phenomenal talent. It's going to take a lot to beat him. But as a fighter, you don't look at a guy in awe of him. You look at him in flaw of him. You got to believe you can win. So Lipin is having his best day. Jaron is a little not having his best day, a little off. Anything can happen. I don't talk about a person in that light like they can't lose. I just know the kid has tremendous talent. Lipin has got to fight him like an animal. Jump straight on him, jump right to him, and let the chips fall where they may. Be an animal. Be vicious with him.
Did you see anything I was looking at the IU Bowl fight, which was a smaller guy, but he was landing some shots, but maybe Boots was being a little reckless because of what was in front of him.
He's young, he's eager, and he wants to put hurt on you. So anybody that's like that is going to take a couple of punches. You know, he's not in there trying to, you know, move around and things like that. He can play that game, but he's trying to hurt you. So when you fight like that, you're gonna get hit a little bit. So I wouldn't put too much stock into that. He's very elusive when he wants to be.
Got you. What's the likelihood? What chances would you? I know you bet a little bit and gamble a little, wager a little bit. What chances do you give us of ever seeing Boots against a Bud Crawford or a Spence? I mean, he is starting to mention those guys' names, but we can't even get Spence Crawford. Looking at
I don't give him much chance. He's a little young, even though he's fighting at the same time. He's kind of like looked at as from a different era, and I don't think they'll fight him.
How do you see the next few years then? Because I feel like all of these guys, even Stanionis is on this card against Delorme. I think that's an excellent fight. But we have you know, the Jesus Ramos kid is out there. I think you've complimented or praised him and given him some praise in your mailbag. This Yella Yusanov guy is out there. Virgil Ortiz Jr. is out there. Do you think how do you see all of these guys? Who do you think is the top of the hill when all of that kind of all the dust settles with that?
It depends. It depends on who the promoters maneuver to give the impression and sell the illusion to. You know, because who's the best and who appears to be the best is two different things. It depends on how each guy is matched, what sanctioning body they go to. Boxing is a business, man. Sometimes things are illusions. You know what I mean? Everybody's not going to fight in their prime when everybody's at full strength. Some guys are going to wait. Some guys are going to see when a guy has a tough fight and try to jump on him. So we got to see. The most talented, I believe, is Ennis, but that doesn't mean he's the best. I believe he's the best also. But Virgil Ortiz is very good. Jesus Ramos is very good. Those three stand out to me. But who knows, man? You know, this is a funny sport. We label the kids down at lightweight the four kings. The media did. None of them fought each other yet. Not once. Not one time did they fight each other. And they call them the four kings. So you just got to just wait. You know, I know Ennis personally, and I know he wants to fight. And if he didn't want to fight, I just wouldn't say it. But I can tell when a kid really wants to fight. He wants to fight. But will he get the fights? I'm not going to lie. I doubt it. I think he's going to move up. I think he's going to have to be a mandatory. He's not going to get those fights. The matchmakers and the managers, until he shows some vulnerability, they're not going to fight him, man. Just how it is.
That's sad. And like I said, that's why I tipped my cap to Lipinets. That's why I bought me a Mo Hooker t-shirt last week after his fight, just for fighting Virgil Ortiz Jr., because he didn't have to take that fight.
Yeah, but see, guys like Hooker, what they do, guys that don't have the perfect records, or guys that they kind of like lukewarm on, and they look at them as top guys, but not like the special A+ guys, they kind of get forced into those kind of fights in a weird kind of way.
Exactly.
Because they get overpaid to take them, and if they don't take them, they kind of sideline them. So you can make the Hooker fight versus Virgil Ortiz, but it'd be something different to make, like, let's say, let me think of a recognizable name at welterweight. Let's say Keith Thurman. That's different. Nobody's going to force Keith Thurman to fight Virgil Ortiz. But Mo Hooker, like, all right, I don't know what he made. Take this $600,000. And if you don't take that, then you're going to sit down. Nobody's going to say that, but that's kind of how they treat you. So those guys like Lipinets, Delorme, those guys right there, they got to take certain kind of fights. But the big names, they don't. And that's just how boxing is. You know, it depends on your status, your clout level, whether they push you into those kind of fights or not.
Wow. So yeah, man, like I said, I'm excited about it. I think you know, Spence, whether we get that fight or not with Spence and Crawford, you know, I just see those guys moving on and not really fighting too many of these young guys. Any thoughts on Crawford? I thought his justification for why he, Ortiz wasn't ready for him and should maybe go out against a Kavaliauskas next or something. Some people were saying that was ducking or whatever, but I thought it was pretty solid advice from a guy who really doesn't need that fight in Crawford.
I think Crawford is the best fighter in the world. I really respect him, but I don't agree with that one particular thing because it's not up to him to say if the guy is ready or not. It's up to him to show the guy that he's not ready or not. That's like Lomachenko telling Teofimo Lopez, "You're not ready or not," and Teofimo Lopez saying, "I am ready. I can beat you," and he wound up beating him, right? So it's not up for the fighter to say that. I'm just keeping it real. I'm the biggest Crawford fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, Floyd can't tell Canelo, "You not ready for me." He got to show him he not ready for him. You understand what I'm saying? What if Bernard Hopkins told Jermaine Taylor, "You not ready. I'm not going to give you a shot at the title." And Jermaine Taylor like, "Yo, I'm the #1 contender. I'm that dude. I can beat you. Show me you can beat me." I could go throughout history. Muhammad Ali fought Sonny Liston when he was 22 years old.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, I could go throughout history. Meldrick Taylor fought Buddy McGirt when he was 21 years old. You know? James Toney fought Michael Nunn and Mike McCallum when he was 22, 23 years old. You can't tell certain guys that they not ready. Riddick Bowe was a pup when he fought Evander Holyfield. He can't tell him, "You're not ready for me." Some dudes be ready even knowing that they're young. Wilfred Benitez beat Carlos Palomino when he was like 20 for the welterweight title. He beat Antonio Cervantes when he was 17 for the junior welterweight title. If somebody told him he's not ready.
Right.
So I can't get into that. You know what I'm saying? As much as I love Crawford, and I'm not saying that Ortiz deserves a title shot, but it's not for another fighter to tell a guy that he's not ready because he's not going to convince Ortiz. It's not his job to play his matchmaker. He can't convince him that he's not ready. Ortiz might say, "Look, you can say whatever you want. I believe I'm ready." Boots Ennis is 23. And let me tell you something, brother. He ready. They can say whatever they want. That kid could fight for the title now. He's ready. I'm not saying he's going to win, but he's ready to fight. So it's up to them to show him that he don't belong. Go in there and knock him out. That's just how I feel about that. You know what I'm saying? I don't get into it. Floyd Mayweather won a title when he was 21. That's how old he was when he won it. You can't, it's hard to tell a man he not ready. You beat him up and show him.
Agree. I mean, and I said as much. And the next day after the fight with Hooker, I said, I would watch that fight. I would even buy that fight, I guess, if I had to. My qualifier for that fight was it seemed like a fight that could get done because I believe Virgil Ortiz brings a certain audience with him. May not be the biggest audience at this particular point, but I think he's created some excitement and buzz about him. And if the business could get done, I'd appreciate the fight. I'm like you. Show the young man that he doesn't belong. I'm with you. I think it's too much.
I think Crawford would beat him. I'm not saying he wouldn't. I think Crawford would beat him and probably stop him. But if the kid wants smoke, let him get smoke. We're in an era where too many guys is turning smoke down. That kid want to fight, let him fight. That's how I feel about that, man. So to each his own. Everybody's different about that, but that's just my opinion on it.
I'm with you. Speaking of another youngster, way younger than those two guys, but I just wanted to get your thoughts on Saturday. We'll get another outing from Toledo, Ohio heavyweight Jared. He's down in Houston training, I believe. But Jared Anderson, the victory over eBay was being that popped up on ESPN versus him being on the Plus. I thought it generated a lot of buzz for him, and it's a lot of excitement. It's a lot of bodies at heavyweight. This weekend, he's taking on a Carpensy kid. I think they're out of your state, Pennsylvania, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But what's your outlook on Anderson?
I think he's good. He's young, but I think he's good. I like the fact that he's not overly muscled. Seems relaxed in the ring. Seems like he has good Good, solid boxing ability. He has good fundamentals. He has good instincts. He has good reflexes. I just need to see more of him and go through, his normal progressions. It looks like right now he's probably the best young American heavyweight we have. So we'll see.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing. April 22nd, we got two. It's a rare opportunity to see two heavyweights, two American heavyweights squaring off in Jermaine Franklin and Stephen Shaw. Big shot. What's your outlook?
Shaw is from St. Louis, right?
Yes, correct.
It's
kind of rare, but I'm super excited about it. It's a Thursday night fight, by the way, on NBC Sports Network. I'm a fan of each guy and kind of hating that they have to meet at this stage, but I think for fans, it's excellent.
It's a good fight. I'm not too familiar with Franklin, so it's hard for me to pick a winner. I have been around Stephen Shaw. He can fight. So I think they probably neither one of them is with the top tier promoters. So with, sometimes, man, you got to bump a little bit early to, get your credibility. So more power to them brothers, man. They taking tough fights and they trying to make their mark. Sometimes that's what you got to do if you're not with the elite level promoters that's going to match you different.
Got you. Another thing I wanted to touch on, another Philadelphia fighter, Stephen Fulton. And you just kind of spoke on this with him against that field at 122. MJ Akhmadaliev just won a title defense this weekend over in Uzbekistan or whatever. Fulton has the WBO title, and I guess Neary is the other champ. Esther Lin had an excellent performance on Showtime. How do you see the dust settling there at super bantamweight?
Man, Stephen Fulton is my little buddy, man. He's a good kid. There's some heavy smoke there.
It's a nice contrast of styles.
Yeah, there's some heavy smoke there. And if he now move up, oh my God. I think Stephen Fulton has a chance to come out of that. But it's gonna be some tough fights, man. That kid Esther Lin is he can improvise.
Right.
He can really, really improvise, man. He got I'm not saying he's as good as Crawford, but he got like a little Crawford in his game. And he can fight. Stephen Fulton can fight. Stephen Fulton's one of the most conditioned guys I've seen. That's a stacked division, man. I like Fulton to do his thing, but I'm curious how they're gonna match him. Like, who's gonna be his first title defense?
Exactly.
I hear Michael Collins coming down in weight.
I heard that too.
I think Fulton would beat him. But that man, it's some heavy smoke at 122, brother. Man, my God. I mean, that's some heavy smoke.
Do you think after what Esther Lin did to Vic Pasillas, do you think it's a way for him to bust through and get it?
That's a kid that's gonna have a hard time getting fights. Somebody gonna have to make somebody fight him, man. Who the hell want to fight that kid? He got long arms. He fast reflexes. He whips his punches in. The boy can fight. Man, he can really go. And he seemed to be getting better every time.
Right.
I don't know, man. I don't know if anybody gonna fight him.
I hate to see it, but that's how I see it playing out. Fulton, do you think he's I kind of like him in Akhmadaliev. I don't have a winner between the two, but I think even at 9 fights now, I think in 6 knockouts, maybe, coming off of defeating Daniel Roman to become a unified champion, I like that matchup between Akhmadaliev and Fulton.
I think Fulton beats him.
I can see that. I'd like to see it.
I think Fulton beats him. I think the person that'll give Fulton the most trouble is Eileen. I think Fulton beats the rest of the guys. Stephen Fulton could go, brother. Seen him come up in the gym since 2010. We trained in the same gym with us. We all trained in the same gym at the same time. When he wanted to go get signed with PBC, I made a phone call for him, actually. Kick a fight.
I like Fulton. inside, outside. The jab is not just beautiful boxing all together.
All around fighter. Yep, he's an all around fighter. You know, not a big puncher, but he punched hard enough.
Right.
He can fight. He can fight. Great instincts, real well conditioned. He got it all.
I like that. I don't see. I don't see too many vices or bad habits that I'm concerned about him beating himself. You know, in the next 2 to 3 years, it seems like he's situated and mature.
He can go, and when he train, he lock in. So,
gotcha.
They're gonna have a tough time out of him.
Next move that makes the best sense for Herring. I thought that was a great win for him against Frampton last week. He came out of there with that cut that seems to be troubling him at this point. But I think it was a good win for him. Dude is 35 years old. You know, Frampton was probably a little at the ceiling in his fighting weights and whatnot, but he was a 2-division guy. I like what Top Rank did for Herring in his career after he came over from the PBC. But he's kind of in this weird spot where, you know, keeping it a buck, he's been regarded as kind of the weak link at 130. But with a win like this, it seems like it presents him with the opportunity to, you know, maybe get a big fight in with Valdez.
What do you mean a win like this, though? Like, I love Jamel Herring. I think he's a heck of a fighter. But like, all of the top guys probably would have beat Frampton. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's you
like,
said smoke and mirrors earlier.
Yeah, it's like it's an excellent win, but that I don't know if that win makes him the best fighter in the division. I just think it puts him in a really good position to fight Valdez. It allows great money. I love to see a 35-year-old guy make some money, especially he took 2 tough losses early in his career. But you know, I think it's an excellent win, but I don't think it's a great win. You know, like, you got to be careful with your work. If he beats Valdez, that's a great win. Beating Frampton is just, you know, an excellent win, a good name. But Frampton wasn't a top guy at 130.
Right. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, with that fight not happening in Belfast like they originally planned, I think it took a little bit away from the magnitude of the fight based on what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I think Frampton is probably going to fight Valdez because black versus Mexican always sell. Let's be honest.
You mean Herring?
Herring, I'm sorry. Herring could fight Valdez, which is a good fight. Valdez will be the favorite, but Herring has a good chance to win. I think Shakur Stevenson going to be the odd man out. He's the toughest style matchup for anybody in the division. And that's just that, you know. But I'm happy for Herring. Think he's a good guy. Love his team. I think it's an excellent win. Like I said, I wouldn't consider it a great win to beat Carl Frampton, but I do think it's good money, good leverage, good things like that. You know, I think they're better fighters in the division than Frampton. Jojo Diaz, Tevin Farmer, Valdez, Burchell, a lot of better guys than Frampton. But that was Herring did his thing, and he was smart. He was smart about it. That's the kind of fight that puts you on the international stage. Now you can get the Valdez fight. You win that fight, you can retire, move up. You can do a lot of things. So that was a smart move.
Yeah, like I said, and taking nothing away from Jamel. He's been on the show before, and I was trying to get him on tonight, honestly, but it didn't happen. But I'm interested to see what happens next. I guess I'm waiting for and want your thoughts on it. But when do we really see Shakur in this fight that really speaks to where a lot of people are rating him?
Well, I don't think you're going to see it. I really don't. I think that. I mean, I just think that from everything that I know about boxing, Valdez and Herring will fight each other. And Shakur Stevens is going to have to fight for a vacant title or keep waiting. It's just how it's just the landscape of the game. It's like it's nothing you could do about it. And you can't be mad at Valdez or Herring for fighting each other. Valdez just won a monster. That's a great win.
Exactly.
Valdez just made a great statement. Herring, just took a tough fight. Tough fight. He won. He's been on a hot streak. He's a champion. So I just see them fighting each other before they fight Shakur. It's not about ducking or scared, but everything that I know about the business of boxing, they're just not going to fight him.
I think it's not. I don't think anything's been said about why maybe there was no push to get Shakur and Emmanuel Navarrete in there together.
I don't know. I can't really speak on that because I really don't know. But I know Shakur Stevenson is a really tough matchup for anybody. And, guys just not lining up to fight him.
Hate to see it. Last two questions, man. I'll let you get out of here, man. Just kind of maybe where you are. I've seen you comment before on some local fights with the females in the state of PA, Pennsylvania. Just maybe what your outlook is for how the women's game is coming along, and then just some thoughts on another young lion that we just saw, that many of us just saw, in Keyshawn Davis. What's his future?
You know what? I heard about Keyshawn Davis. I heard he was really good. I haven't had a chance to really see him as a professional, but I heard he's the real deal. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to check him out. Female boxing, it seems like it's making some noise. They just had the good fight with Cecilia Brækhus.
And
she just lost to the girl Jessica McCaskill again.
Yes.
And Caressa Shields, man, she's the real deal. She can fight her butt off, man. I like her. And they're saying it's a girl that beat her. Maybe as an amateur, I'm not sure, but some girls calling her out. So,
that's Anna Marshall. She fights Saturday. But she got a late replacement coming in though, so it kind of took away from.
Okay.
She was supposed to fight a female that Claressa beat a couple years ago, so it was kind of getting those mutual opponents lined up.
So we'll see. I think it's coming along, man, and I'm happy for them young ladies that they get in there, do their thing on their own lane. I like Caressa a lot, man. I think she has some serious skills. I like the way she fights. Hopefully maybe somebody can challenge her. And she can get the big fight that she's been wanting and she deserves. So we'll see.
Got you. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you getting with me, man. Like I said, this is an exciting weekend. A lot of action this weekend on DAZN, Showtime, as well as ESPN Plus and regular ESPN. Anything in the future you see, man, coming out of the Philly boxing scene that you just said you saw Boots back in 17 or whatever it was?
14.
I
seen Stephen Fulton in 2010. Man, it's a lot of good young talent. I train my guys out of Philly. I train Karan Davis, Romeo Cruz, and Zachary Ochoa. They all train in Philly with me. A lot of young guys coming out of the gym. So Philly's always going to produce some world-ranked fighters, so the city looks good.
Okay. All right. Well, appreciate it, man. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, man. All right. So that was Philadelphia-based trainer Stephen Breadman Edwards. Obviously, with this weekend, we have Jerron Boots Ennis in the main event on Showtime. I don't know if it's championship boxing or just Showtime boxing, but it's Saturday night against Sergey Lipinets. Just wanted to get some feedback. It's kind of hard to see or kind of temper our expectations on what we're seeing in Jerron Ennis. Again, I've been in some of the press conferences the last week and a half or two with Sergey Lipinets and Jerron. And you just saw Maurice Hooker and Virgil Ortiz. And, Maurice Hooker was going to have to fight a perfect fight to get that fight. And he wasn't doing a bad job, honestly. But that body work was really starting to have an effect on him and whatnot. But he was, in all likelihood, he was going to lose that fight. And now looking at Lipinets, I just don't see a way. I don't see a formula for him to win that fight. But again, nobody else is gonna fight Boots in all likelihood. He's not getting a fight against Crawford. He's not getting one against Errol Spence Jr. So any live bodies or accomplished guys that they're able to get in the ring with the kid, you got to run with it. So like I said, I wanted to get Breadman's feedback, or insight, because it looks like, and I wrote an article about Boots a couple of years ago, just what he can do in the ring, the footwork, the combination punching, the ring generalship, aggressive. He showed us with what's my man's name? Abreu, I think, is the last cat he fought. He showed you that he could be nasty and win, or he could brawl. There's other fights when he did stuff from outside and was dominant. Not the one punch knockout per se, but definitely is able to hit guys with the volume game and get them out of there. He's definitely not punching people softly. But good height for the division. The showmanship. Just dude has the whole package, man. So we sit here and watch this, and it's like, damn, dude could really, be transcended, maybe, possibly. I like his personality too, but just comes to give you a hell of a fight, and I think that's part of the reason why I just don't see Lipinets being able to be too effective Saturday night. But I think that's an excellent card. Stanionis, and Thomas Delorme in the co-main event. I listened to Delorme today in the press conference. He's adamant about Stanionis's team making a mistake and picking him. Delorme's had some good fights. I was at his fight with Jesse Vargas in Chicago, 2019 or whatever. He disappointed me a little bit in his outing against Jamal James. He lost that one. But again, these guys coming here against this next wave of welterweights, man. That's an important part of that's an important role in the turnover of the division. So I think that's going to be an excellent fight. The Cajas and Rodriguez fight, I don't know much about Rodriguez. I listened to him today. I didn't get involved in the interview, the Q&A, whatever. I let everybody else do their thing. But that's a great card for Showtime. We'll see what happens. But anyway, man, I'm going to get ready to get on off of here. Till next time. Write down boxing. Don't let them count you out.